Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Let the conversation begin. This is Let's Talk with your host, Carl Lee.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee, and this is Let's Talk. I'm in Minneapolis, and so we're making our own studio kind of as we go. We're making it. So I want to, like I'll do with all my guests, I want to introduce this guy by him telling us all the good stuff about him, what he's doing now, what he did before. And this is my friend Keith Millard. So Keith, introduce yourself by giving, but you got to give us the good stuff.
Like
people got to know. Like
we'll be here all day.
We're here all day.
All right.
You know,
well,
just tell us a little bit about some of your success in the league, what you're doing now, those kinds of things.
Okay. All right. So my name's Keith Millard. I'm here with Carl Lee and Henry Thomas. We're here for a banquet and going to old folks' homes and visiting people and just hanging out with Minnesotans, having a good time. So background-wise, we played together in the 80s, early 90s. Great teammate, had a lot of fun, had a lot of good players on that team. Very proud of being able to play with the players that I've played with. We all had a lot of success. I've had success. I worked hard to get to that point. Made a couple Pro Bowls, was NFL Defensive Player of the Year in '89. I think in the time that I was there, we made it to the playoffs 3 times. 1 year we made it to the championship. So a lot of good memories of Minnesota. I went to school at Washington State University as a first-round draft pick in 1984. And then since I got out of the league as a player, I started immediately coaching. I started coaching in high school in 1994 in Arizona, and then moved to California to take my first coaching job in college, which is a D3 school, Menlo College. I was a defensive coordinator, so it was an opportunity to be a coordinator. And then from there, I went to the first XFL. That was in 2001. Coached there for a year, and then I got a job in the NFL. Coached in the NFL for 12 years for 4 different teams. Loved it, and then got out of coaching for a while, and then got drugged back into it in high school because I wanted to coach my kids in high school. So and with my kids, and that's what I'm currently doing now. I'm coaching at high school in California, Danville, Monte Vista High School. My son's the head coach, and I'm the defensive coordinator, and we're getting ready for spring ball right now. We're in off-season training, winter conditioning as we call it. Kids are getting after it pretty hard, so it's really good to see. This is going to be my second year coaching at this high school. It'll be my son's third. So very exciting stuff coming. We're really looking forward to it.
All right, so Keith, I know, we've had, and Henry Thomas unfortunately had to leave early this morning, but we've had some really interesting kind of conversation, whether it be specifically about football. But let's do this real quick because I know everybody watched the Super Bowl, so we watched some of it. We were, we were kind of occupied by, socializing and that kind of stuff, but. What was your thoughts of what you saw of the game? How did it reflect on you, thinking about whether it be coaching, whether it be you playing? Because, the problem I have with watching it, is I get caught up in watching the position that I play. Mm-hmm. And I hate to be judgmental. Right. I'm like, man, that dude is terrible. I hate to do that because I think that becomes like a fan. That's what fans do.
You're naturally critiquing the guy, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's. To me, I don't know if that's right. But I got a dislike for the 49ers because they beat us.
Right, I do too.
So my thoughts were, I was all about Kansas City. I like Mahomes, and so they won. So I was satisfied with the win, but it's not like I'm going to do, I'm not going to wear a KC or something, So
So tell me tell the fans what you thought about the game and the pieces that you saw.
So, we were busy when we were watching it, so it was bits and pieces. But what I did get to see was the overtime and what led to the overtime.
Yes.
And my feeling was, because I wanted the 49ers to win too. I wanted the 49ers to win.
Right, okay.
It's a Bay Area team. It's where I'm from.
Right.
So, and I hate the 49ers too, but I just, they're an NFC team. You know what I mean? We don't want an AFC team whooping us in the NFC. But, I didn't really care who won, really. But the thing that really stood out to me is when, it was back and forth, right? Really competitive. Everything was under control. All the coaches were doing a good job. But then when it came down to it, it got into overtime. I just think that, Mahomes just took over.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a plan for that. Whatever was working for the first 4 quarters that they played, the game's tied. We're going into overtime. All of a sudden, they can't stop Mahomes.
Well, let me ask this question, because being a defensive lineman, it's more of an issue to you than it probably would be to me. But I think we'll see this the same. Mahomes can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He can run the ball. And there have been running quarterbacks are the thing now.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're playing a team that has a running quarterback that is valuable as an asset in that, why are you not game?
So that's what I saw, and it blew me away, because they have guys on the 49ers D-line that can rush at all 4 positions, and you see them coming, but they don't have lane control. So Mahomes, as he's dropping back, he sees a guy, and the guy's down the middle, right? But he doesn't get off his block quick enough, so he gets through, or they don't have lane control. You got to trap a guy like that, right? You got to keep him on the spot, as we used to say. Keep him on the spot. And they didn't do that when it counted.
Well, but every time I've seen Mahomes play, and I'll make the case for most quarterbacks who can run the ball, they're super successful at it, as though you don't see the film. You're not watching the film.
Right.
I don't know if that's just a difference.
No. So when you break down film, especially when you have a quarterback that can run, you need to know where their escape areas are. Like when just like anything else. When
inside,
they run,
outside.
We're inside, outside. Like, who was a quarterback that played for Seattle for so many years? He's in Denver now. What's that quarterback's name? Number 3, little dude. Okay, anyway, the quarterback that played for Seattle, very successful. I can't remember his name right now. So we knew every time he escaped, what he would do is he would step up.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd make you feel like you got him, and then he'd step back and spin and make you run by him like this. But he always went outside.
Right.
He always went outside. He never went up the middle. So we knew that. So we had to figure, if he's going to run on us, we got to keep him in the well. Right. This guy, you got to keep him in the well, but you also got to have lane control.
Right,
because he can beat you either way, is what I'm saying.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to have a plan. So you either got to put a spy on him with your 4-down guys, or don't rush him as aggressively so you can control the lanes, almost like a 2-gap rush.
Right.
And they didn't do none of that when the game was on the line. None of that. This guy was running at will on these guys. It was not good, man.
And again, you may not know what he's saying, you may not know the information that he's giving you, but what it is, the reason why I asked the question was to get those answers, but get those answers from the standpoint of, like, when you're coaching high school, and even like a D3,
mm-hmm.
D2 maybe even D1.
Right.
That's some of that information, some of that knowledge is super relevant
mm-hmm.
in developing a particular play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you start, and I'm going to touch into your coaching part of it and your what I'm going to call your style. Like, if you're not developing, if you don't take time to develop, that in a sense, and creating a situation to where you almost have to be, your football IQ has to be taught sometimes
Absolutely.
And grown.
Absolutely.
And you do that by learning something from somebody who knows it.
Right.
And not taking anything away from, any high school coach.
Absolutely not.
Or any of that.
Right.
Or even a college coach. When you bring in a buddy and, you hire a buddy, that could be detrimental to the position in which you give him. And a lot of times I think it's the defensive back. Like, they'll hire these guys. They'll hire you for the D line, and then they'll hire Joe Blow for the DB coach, and who has no idea of what DB play is. And now that's one of those hard positions that are so detailed that if you don't know it, you're hurting the game.
No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, you have to go through that process when you're bringing guys in. Even if you're bringing friends in, you either got to coach them up and make sure they're on top of what they're doing if you want them to be there, but you can't give him responsibility to take care of a position that's absolute got to be right. Technique, fundamentals, assignments, they got to be on it, right? So you need a guy that can teach it and get it through to their players, technique and assignments, as well as everything else. And if you don't have that guy, you're right. Because I'll tell you, as a coach, as a coordinator, D-line coach, whatever it is, that's my weakness. I know coverages very well. I know how they work. I know how to call coverages. But I don't know what's a man turn? What's a zone turn? Right. Which hand we stabbing with? What's the footwork? What's the stance? I'm like, you guys got to handle that. And if you don't know, you got to look it up, because that's not my strengths. That's why I'm bringing you in. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask this question, and we'll kind of move on from here. But YouTube's not necessarily the best place to get that information.
But I'll look at YouTube if there's information in there.
Right. But sometimes, isn't it valuable? And again, your access to certain people who played certain positions to get that information may be easier than a lot of other people. If I don't have the access to a great player to play in the NFL like you, or I don't have somebody who's a knowledgeable coach who's been in it, who's coached those positions year after year, where do I go? Like, what do I do? Is YouTube where I go?
So no, if you Google, like if you're looking for something, because I do it. Yeah. So the one thing about coaching, just because I've played at the highest level,
doesn't make you know everything.
Everything I know, I've learned from somebody else, and I've been to clinics, right? And I'm telling you, I've learned as much stuff from a high school coach, college coach, as I ever have from an NFL coach, because everybody's got something that you can learn something from. So information's out there. All you got to do is listen, and you got to find it. But for me, like if I'm looking for something specific, or I want to hear somebody else coach what I'm coaching, I like to get a different perspective, because you can learn. So I Google it. If there's something like, like for example, I do this all the time. Run fits in a 3-4 defense. I want to study run fits in a 3-4 defense. How do linebackers?
For the people who don't know what run fit is,
So run fits are when you are facing a team that runs the ball. When they do run the ball, you want to know where they're running it and how you're going to fit your linebackers up in the gaps that they're running the ball. And that's all based on a lot of the things that we're talking about. It's based on, there's keys, is the fullback lined up strong? Is he lined up weak? Well, if he is, they're going to tell you where they're running the ball. It might be counter OF, which is, it might be power Bob O. It might be lead, but there's tells in that, and based on formation recognition, like I always tell my guys, pre-snap read is huge, right? Pre-snap read, what formation they in? What kind of stance is this guy in?
And
is he tight or is he wide?
Listen to this, folks, because we're talking about a D-line guy. Okay, he's trying to get a pre-snap. He's not just lining up looking at the guy that he's going against. He's trying to find a formation, even if nobody's telling him. He wants to identify that.
Right.
So if you're not doing those things, you're behind. You're behind. Like you don't. Again, you could be very talented, but growing that football IQ. This is what we're talking about. This is what Keith is talking about, and I think this is something that I think that we need to pay more attention to in that area,
Right.
whether it's coaching, trying to make these kids understand you need to know this kind of information, or they need to do that. The coaches need to do that research,
Right.
so that they're teaching that information so the kids learn it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's our responsibility as coaches when we're coaching really any position. I don't even care, but especially youth, high school kids, even younger than that, because I've coached in, 8th graders, all the way up to high school. So it's our responsibility to make sure that they have the best tools in their toolbox so they can perform, right? You got to give them everything they need. So in order for me to be able to do that, I got to know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And like I said, the information's out there, and you can do with that information whatever you need. You might already know a bunch of stuff, but I'm telling you, you'd be surprised how much stuff you can learn by listening to other people. I've listened to coaches at Georgia, Wisconsin, Alabama, Nick Saban. I'm probably listening to stuff that he does for years because it's coverage stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Like you and I were talking about coverages the other day, and I'm sure I was blowing your mind, like, match quarters, right?
Yeah.
Our cover 3 system that we used, our man system that we used. I mean, we're back and forth, so those things are important because they're going to make you play better and they're going to make you perform better.
And it's, I think it's, I want to compare this kind of information and this kind of ability to have dialogue, like the dialogues that we've had specifically about football. I don't think people see it. If you're not in this circle of conversation,
right,
of that type of talk, you don't see football that way. You don't see the complexity of it. Mm-hmm. But this might as well be, chemistry.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it is. And for some people, it's like that.
Absolutely,
right? Yeah.
And I think just like I would be scared to death to think I'm gonna take chemistry, but I want to do something that I need chemistry as a background.
Right.
I have to go out. I have to let people know that I don't know.
Right.
I've got to be able to say that I don't know this,
mm-hmm. You have to
be willing to do.
Yes.
And the crazy thing about it, and I'm curious of what you say to this, I think athletes have the ability to, and I'm going to use the worst word I could come up with. They're willing to shame themselves to say that they don't know if they're getting that information from somebody who they know knows it.
Right.
Like I don't have any. Like you were like, isn't that right, C-Lee?
Right.
Because and you don't have you don't have to humble yourself to say you're asking me a question about coverage or I'm asking you something about D-line, but we know and we're comfortable in the idea of not knowing every part of the game, and we can say it.
Absolutely.
And I think if you're a coach and you're trying to be the best coach that you can be, man, you got to humble yourself enough to say, I need more information. I don't know, I don't know this. Like when I got to South Charleston High School, my high school was the head coach. My problem was I did not know quarterback, and I didn't have anybody that was specifically a quarterback. So I can't bring anything to, everybody's mad because this quarterback did this, he did this, he did that.
So let me ask you this, let me interrupt you. So yeah, it's one thing to coach your quarterback, it's another thing to coach your quarterback in your system.
Yes.
So it's your system,
right,
and what this kid can do, or is he that kid that can do anything and maybe you build your system around him? That's where you got to find out first, right?
Right.
Then you build them up.
Right. The hiring the offensive coordinator for me, so I get the offensive coordinator in. That ends up having to make a drastic change mm-hmm. to a guy who has not been in that position. Mm-hmm. So now he's trying to manage and understand what the offensive coordinator is. That's tough. Mm-hmm. And so that dude was in a bad situation. Mm-hmm. Now as the head coach and a defensive guy, I'm in a bad situation, which in turn puts us as a team in a drastic mm-hmm. situation, because now we can't enhance. We mentally can't enhance our offense because we can't.
You're handcuffed.
Yeah, because we're handcuffed because we can't. And to try to figure out like what that quarterback can do. Well, you're trying to coach something and you don't know if he can do it.
Right.
And even if you change that, you still don't know if he can do that. So I think that particular situation for me was really, and I was aware of it. And so was in all fairness, the offensive coordinator, well, he was fully aware. He made the case that that wasn't what he came there to do.
Right.
But he ended up being that. So I think those kinds of things are tough. But so we've kind of jumped around, and so I want to come back, and I want to talk about your path to becoming the defensive player of the year, and folks, our defensive line truly were made up, and to me was made up of literally every position on our D line, and maybe with the exception of one. Maybe just one side of it. But there were three guys, Henry Thomas, Chris Dolman, Keith Millard. Those three guys, at any given time to me, and at any time in the league, was as good or better than everybody that they played against. And so having the luxury playing behind it, I'm interested in the advancement of your career and how great players around you, the impact that they had on you to excel even more, because you were already a guy that was, across the country, everybody was seeing Keith Millard as this #1 pick, this great guy, going to be a great NFL player. So all of that was already in place. So tell me a little bit about the motivation to get you, that you wanted to continue to get better, and also the impact of having great players around you.
Great question. So the motivation is obviously, came from youth.
Yeah.
God, would I love to wear an NFL uniform? Would I love to be the best at, doing something that I love to do? But that's a far stretch. That's out there, right?
Everybody's telling you, man, that's just too big for you.
Too big for you. But you know what? If you're determined and if you want something so bad and you're willing to work for it.
Say that again? You're willing to what?
Work for it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it might be where the moon is, but if it's one step at a time, chipping away, you'd be surprised. If you're focused, mentally focused, driven, no matter, like I used to tell myself, no matter what I have to do, right? No matter what I have to do, no matter how hard I have to train, no matter how hard I got to work in school to make sure I'm eligible, you know what I'm saying? No matter whatever it takes, you know what I mean? That's my dream, and nothing's going to take me away from that. That's how I used to think. And then things started falling into place. I had really good coaching along the way. I took the coaching that I got.
Size? How big were you in high school?
So I was skinny. I was 6'4", and a half, probably 210. I think I was 209 when I got to Washington State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I went there as a tight end, so I didn't play defense. I didn't play defense in high school. I didn't play defense in college till my sophomore year.
Oh,
so I was a tight end.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but we ran the veer.
Oh, okay.
You don't throw to tight end.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you're just blocking.
So I'm like, Coach, come on, man. Put me somewhere else. I want to make plays, right? So he goes, well, we can move you to defense. I said, okay, I'll play linebacker. He goes, no, you're going to play on the D-line. So I've never played it before.
Okay.
But like I said, I had good coaches. It was fun to play on the defense. Things were a lot cooler over there anyway. So, yeah, man. To me, the whole thing that we're talking about right now, just you got to have a dream, man. You got to set goals, and nothing can stand in the way of those goals. I mean, that's how I was. Maybe it sounds silly now, but it got me where I am today, and it'll continue to get me wherever I need to go, man, because I'm a goal setter. And I believe you got to do whatever it takes to achieve those goals. Obviously, the NFL is a lofty goal, right? But it's not so lofty.
And people are going to say you can't make it. They're going to tell you that.
1.5% of people make it. 1.5%.
everybody's going to tell you.
I let that go just like this.
I couldn't even hear it, and I wanted you to tell that because the same thing for the number one pick is the same thing for the one who's going to go round 7.
Right.
You know, I don't care 6 picks, 7th round, 7th round. It doesn't make any difference. The same dream, the same action, the same work is required.
Absolutely.
By everybody who, even the free agent. You can say, well, the free agent has to work harder. The free agent has to work just as hard.
No.
You know, he has to work just as hard as everybody else. It's not a difference. The thing is, because we talked about the quarterback for the 49ers. He's the last pick in the draft.
Right.
He's the last name called.
Right, but do you think that entered into his head as far as whether he's going to make it, be successful? No. Same with us. I was a first-round draft choice. You were a 7th-round draft choice. I'll guarantee you and I were no different in our approach getting there.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, when I was in college, the first time I ever heard, because my thinking was just like you're saying right now, my thinking was all I want is a shot.
Just give me in.
Just give me a shot, get me in, and I'll take it from there. That's all I want. That's all. That's the only way I thought.
How many
and then my head coach brings me in the office right before my senior year. It's a true story. I had no idea, totally oblivious. He brings me, Jim Walden, he brings me in his office. This is right before my senior year, and he goes, "Have you thought about an agent?" I'm like, what? For what? He goes, "You're going to be a first-round draft pick." I'm like, what? I go, "Are you serious?" He's telling me this. I'm in his office. I'm like blown away. I had just never even entered my mind. So he's talking about, he's trying to educate me. Like, you're going to need an agent. I don't want nobody talking to you unless they talk to me first. You know, just want to make sure we're on the same page. That's why we're having this meeting. But you guys, you got to get mentally ready for that.
So
I was like blown away.
I can only imagine that. Yeah,
dude.
because to hear that you're going to be a first-round pick, and you're hearing that from the coach, what was it that hindered you from being aware of the chatter or the media or whatever the case may be?
You know how it is. When we came out, all we had that little ESPN. We didn't have that. So we didn't know nothing. The scouts, when they came out to measure us at the school or whatever, they didn't say nothing. We just got up on the scale, did our thing, and left.
The only thing I ever heard was that, and I don't even know. I don't know who said this to me now that I'm thinking about it, but someone had said to me that you could go as early as the 3rd or 4th round. It just depends on the run of the defensive backs, you know, and meaning that if they started taking defensive backs, you could potentially go early.
This is your agent telling you this?
I don't know, because I didn't have an agent until I ended up. This is how I got my agent. He called me. Barney Harris called me because he was representing someone else in the draft.
That you knew?
And I knew.
Okay.
And so he was asking me, you know, he was asking about my agent to kind of talk to him, because what had happened was Joey Browner had signed early, you know, and had signed, you know, for a crazy number.
Right.
That was going to kind of lock everybody else into something lower.
Right.
So there was this bond of trying to capture 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Right. Trying to navigate it, right.
So that we can hold out and try to get the most we could. Well, so that's, so I kind of got my agent that way. But I don't know, I guess my thing is like, I wasn't really aware of the money difference. I was more so interested in trying to get there.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I was focused on the just trying to get there. And do you think that there's a major difference? Throw the money out the door, but is there a major difference from the number 1 pick and the last pick?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
big difference.
But how do you explain the last pick? Because I think a lot of first round draft picks especially at the quarterback position, don't have the success that's expected.
Right.
You know, Purdy is he's the last dude picked.
That didn't cost $4.5 nothing.
And so, is that a flaw of the system?
No, that's a great question. They have a system in place based on, there's different criteria, but there's always a number for guys, how much money they want to spend or how much money they can spend. Right? And it goes from that first rounder all the way down to that seventh rounder. And sometimes, it starts cutting into more about incentives than salary. Like, you can make this up in incentives, but you got to earn it.
Right. And when we're talking about incentives, we're talking about start getting, how many games you start, how much play time.
Right.
Yeah, you might get X number of dollars. Yes. All of those kind of things. Yeah.
Right, that kind of
So they'll load you up. They'll pay you $10 and then they'll load you up on incentives of different things that you can earn. That could be another 50, another 100, and that type of thing. So that's kind of what Keith is speaking of when we talk about incentives.
But when we're trying to do everything all incentive based, they're obviously running out of money by the time they get down there. It just depends, right? But if you're especially these days, if you're a first round draft pick, those guys, they're getting paid. It's going to be a whole lot. I mean, it really drops off. Really, third down.
Yeah.
It starts really dropping off. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's just but they got a system in place. Trust me, they got a system in place based on draft number, what that number is compared to everybody else, what they want to pay, how they're going to do it. It's all structured. They got systems, whatever, and then to get their guys signed, there's got to be a hook, right? Because guys. Everybody wants what they want, and they have no problem holding out or doing whatever else these days, right? That's something I never wanted to do. I never wanted to miss anything.
I missed a few days of training camp one year because I was like you, if you're out, somebody's in your position.
That's right.
Somebody's at your position playing.
Yep.
And if you find out that guy's better or as good,
right?
You got no shot now.
Yeah,
they're not going to pay you. Two things: they're not going to pay you,
right?
And they don't have to pay you.
There's things can happen,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And it could be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But my thinking was, I don't want to go through this. I don't want it to be a deal. When training camp started, I told my agent, we got to get that thing signed. I want it done by training camp. I do not want to miss practice. But here's what my agent told me. He goes, if Mike Lynn knows that, he's going to hardball you.
Yeah.
And I said, well, he knows that. Right. Because I told him.
And
dummy.
And Mike Lynn was by far, God rest his soul.
Yep.
Was by far the worst.
Or the best.
Depending on what side you're on.
Right.
The worst or the best GM possible. Because he tells me, he said, in order for me to get paid, he said, you got to go do this. You got to get these kind of honors and all that.
Yeah.
I go get all of them and maybe a few more. And then I come back and then he says to me, well, how do I know it wasn't just a fluke?
Right.
You got to do it again.
Oh, yeah. He'll talk to you shit now. There's no doubt about it.
What are you talking about? You told me I needed to
I can get you at this place, and they're only making this. So you want me to pay you more than them? You know what I mean? That's how he worked.
Yeah.
And it worked.
And it did work.
Because we didn't have free agency.
No.
They had the USFL, right? Yeah. That's what I did because he lowballed me so much. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, I'm like, Mike, I'm ready, man. I want to play. I don't want to play in the USFL. I want to play in the NFL. You know what? We just got talking about our dreams, right?
Yes.
Your whole life you dream about playing the NFL. Man, you're ready to go. So I went through mini camp with Lestackle, and I'm thinking training camp comes, I'm there.
Yeah.
And Mike Lynn just.
Did you ever have to think about the possibility? Because a number one pick is never getting cut, right? But did it ever dawn on you to think about the potential of getting cut or anything? Did that ever even cross your mind? Did you ever even have to even think about that?
No.
See, and that's that's a good thing. That's a good thing because
No.
like
I'm not getting cut.
I had to live in that. I had to live in that.
Yeah, I know.
I had to live in that for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. I remember we've had this conversation. Yeah.
And it's amazing to me. You know, I can't, because what I can't figure out is like how freaking good I could have been if I didn't have to worry about trying to make the team. Like
I beg to differ. I think that is what made you good because you're always on edge, dude. You always had to fight for everything. There's no doubt. What if it was easy, like you're a 7th rounder, you made the team, everything's good and stuff, but then you start relaxing. You know you're always looking, dude, we're always looking behind our shoulder, man. Let me give you an example. People out there, so I'm coming off being NFL Defensive Player of the Year. All right? I set a record for sacks by defensive tackle that Aaron Donald broke 29 years later. So I'm balling, right?
Right.
I get hurt. Go to camp next year. Who's in camp? Johnny Randall. And he's throbbing, dude. This dude, I've never seen a man so hungry in my life.
Yes.
I thought we were hungry.
Yes.
This dude was taking no prisoners. Dude, he played defensive end. They didn't know what to do with him.
Yeah, he could play anywhere.
He played defensive end, nose guard, right, 3, whatever. Because remember, when he just got there, he's a free agent from some school. I don't even think it existed.
He didn't even get drafted. Like,
he was drafted.
He was like a free agent.
But dude, when you saw him, I'm like, I love that guy. His passion.
Yes.
Dude, he was so focused.
And the O-line.
He's only this tall.
Yes. O-line
6'1".
Yes. Now, I don't even know.
And in those days, he was 245.
6'1".
I just give it to him because we're on TV. But he was only 245 in those days. And I remember they were playing him at end.
Yeah.
They were playing him at end. They bounce him around, but really he's playing end because of his size. He played end in free.
Did he played end
in preseason. Huh?
Did he take Noga's spot? Or was Noga already?
Oh, dude, he took my damn spot. So here's what happened. So they were working him at end. I remember because we were going through preseason, right? It was training camp. It was 1990. 91.
Okay.
Because I was coming back from my injury. 90, 91, whatever. All I know is this dude was balls out. He was learning everything from us. Everything he was doing. I mean, he went for a small school in college. I don't even know if that school exists anymore.
What it is either.
Free agent out of nowhere. Dude, this guy he wasn't your kind of free agent. He was like the tryout type of free agent, right? Somebody knew about him. This is the story. And I don't know what exactly, but somebody knew about him through somebody else. And they said, you should give this guy a shot. Okay, so now back to our point. So I get hurt in 90, right? Come back in 91, trying to fight through it, trying to get through it. I can't play, I'm hurt, right? So, Johnny, they're trying to find out where this dude can play him at end right now because he's 245, blah, blah, blah. Then I get hurt. It's like, well, let's just throw him in there at the 3. That was my last time. That was it. That was it, man. Dude, think about him. We're talking about hard work, passion, and it's not just football, man. You got to take life like that.
Yeah.
Man. You got to go after it. Go follow your dream. Go after it. Go get it. That's what John Rand. He epitomizes that.
Yes, and he did it having fun. Mm-hmm. Like if you would have never known that he was a free agent. Mm-hmm. You would have never known that I don't ever remember a time of seeing him on the field not having fun and not thinking he's as good or better than everybody else.
Think
out
about
there.
where he's come from, though. He came from like 11 kids. I think he's got like 9 brothers, huge family, right? I mean, this guy. This is how he explained it to me. He goes, man, when I finally made the team, he was in heaven.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. This is like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just love that about him, man.
And everybody, because, we call it a job.
Right.
You know,
right.
We're calling it a job because, you know, now that you're playing and now you got every year somebody's coming in
right.
and now so it's a job. You're trying to maintain your job. You're
right.
trying to keep that job every year, every down, every game,
right.
every possibility. You're trying to keep that job. Johnny is in a situation where he is like, I am in heaven, you know, and it was made for me. You know, it was like made for me.
Right.
I'm supposed to be here.
Right.
And because I'm supposed to be here, I'm going to have as much fun doing it, but I will never take it lightly.
Oh, no, he never did.
You know, I'm not coming in half out of shape.
Right, no, not him.
He was such the epitome of an example of somebody who got something that he wanted.
But it was fragile.
But it was,
you know what I'm saying? He knew he never wanted to let it go because it was so far out there, the far reach. You know what I'm saying? It's like reaching the moon, right? It was so far out there, and then when it happened, think about it. You got to remember where this guy came from. He wasn't like a free agent, or he was a free agent.
Yeah.
He didn't get drafted, but it wasn't like this guy. The Viking, the story, Paul Wiggin and those guys found out about him through some freak thing and basically said, you guys should bring him in and give him a tryout. That's where he started.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's
so you
different.
know that, and we're sitting here going, all I wanted is a shot.
Yeah.
You get me in there, just give me that shot. That's the story right there. That is us, but in even harder.
Yeah,
right?
We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Carl Lee. Visit WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk for more.
Sponsorship opportunities are available. Contact Carl Lee at letstalk@promessage.com, Dale Cooper at dcooper@wvradio.com, or call 304-342-8131. Ask Carl a question or comment on current or previous episodes. Visit Let's Talk Carl Lee on Facebook. Like, rate, and subscribe from your podcast service to help more people find Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now, back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back from the break.
When you say tryout in the NFL, like for guys who, I don't care how late you got drafted, right? Like you're like thinking, okay, that tryout, if you weren't good enough to get drafted, clearly a tryout ain't going to help you.
Oh, the percentages you make in that team, they're
not happening.
Right, it's not happening.
But when it's somebody like that, who's just a happy-go-lucky, because I can understand, I can see if you got a chip, right? Like, so you have a chip because you didn't get in. I don't know if I ever seen Johnny with a chip.
Oh, it's in there. You don't get to where you are without having it. He just never showed it like we did. Like, you know,
like I was
your ass.
Yeah, like I'm like, you know, I'm like talking to other guys who are playing my position. I'm letting them know, like, bro, look, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming, and
right.
It ain't personal. It's my right.
Yeah,
lifelong dream. So if you treating this like a part-time job, you know, or just this easy job, I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
I got you. And Johnny's thinking on the other side of that. Johnny's like thinking like, man, y'all should have never gave me a chance.
Right.
You're never getting me out
and
of
that's
here.
all he was waiting for.
Yeah, just one chance.
That was all the thing that was in his mind. I just need a chance. You play me wherever you want, because dude, they played him right, left, inside, outside, whatever,
and no complaint.
No, he just wanted it. All he wanted to do is get on that field. And unbelievul story. People don't realize his story, man. It's unbelievable. It just doesn't happen.
And if you understood those stories, right? If you understood, like, being a first round and then getting hurt, being a first round is not necessarily a guarantee.
No.
You know, you're going to get paid and all of those kind of things that you want.
Right.
But on the other side of it, there's still something about you want to play. Like, you want to know. You want to know how good you can play. So just getting the money is one thing. But man, like, for me to be able to say, you know, I covered Jerry Rice.
Absolutely.
You know, and so you can't now take that away from me, because however great he is, you know, I get the comfort of saying I covered him, and I can make a case that we shut him down in if nothing but 1 year, one game. I get to be able to say that I'm one of those people who did that. And I think that's the most critical piece of the idea of what you want. And the work that it requires, and it doesn't matter first round, second round, last round, walk on, free agent, whatever the case is, try out, whatever that is. There's still this place, and I think that requires and demands work. And one of the things that I think that great players don't do is they don't consider themselves in that spot that they have to work like the guy over there has to work.
Right.
Man, how many people do you pass up? You know, and like for you, and not being hypothetical, and because I don't know this, but so it could very well be true. But like I watched myself pass people up. Because I was not great high school, you know, I was a good high school player, but there wasn't no whole bunch of D1s running around chasing after me. But when I got to Marshall, you know, I passed people up. You know, so those guys who were on those other teams that we played against, I was passing those guys up that they were saying, oh, this guy's good. I'm trying to pass those guys up. And when you get to the league, you kind of lose the idea of what round they came in, free agent or not. You're trying to secure.
Oh yeah, once you get in,
you got to secure.
Everybody's the same. That's what I've always told people. It don't matter if you're free agent or first round draft, but once you're in there and you got that uniform on, everything. As far as the coaches are concerned, everybody's the same. Yeah, they know. Yeah, this guy's got talent. We're hoping all these good things, whatever. But if Joe Blow is on your butt. And like Donnie Randall was, that's a great example. That's what it was.
Yeah.
This guy was
like, you could see it.
You could see it.
You could see it,
he
and you
was
knew.
Hungry, dude.
And you know
he
what?
Was hungry.
And there was a gentleman who I beat out at the corner position, and I'm trying to figure out to this day why he didn't.
Where in Marshall?
No, in Minnesota. Yeah, you know, I'm trying to figure out to this day, like, what was he missing? Did he not see? He did not see me growling. He did not see me digging.
Comfortable, and you were hungry. You're hungry.
But how do you not see that?
Maybe.
Like, how do you ignore that? But now, one of the things he had said to me once was, we were running conditioning, and it was Les's year. Mm-hmm. When Les was here, Les Steckel was there.
Yeah,
we were. 84. It was conditioning like crazy.
Yep.
And I had already come from a coach who was like that, so it didn't bother me. I'm like, oh, hey, this is college,
right?
And he looks over and says, man, hey, slow down, take it easy. I said, bro, look, I ain't got nowhere to go. Yeah. I can't go home. Mm-hmm. I already know if I go home, bro, I'm getting a job. I can't stay at home. Yep. Dad's got me out the house.
Oh yeah, you know what that's all about. You know what that's all about.
So I'm like, hey, brother, you need to look, stay with me, cause I'm running. I want to be the first guy down and the first guy back. And story happens is my career becomes that. His becomes something different.
Yep.
And I don't understand. You have a chance at the world. You have the chance at the world. You're sitting there with an opportunity to be a professional athlete at a starting position, and you're trying to cruise through.
Yeah, guys get comfortable, man. Guys get comfortable. They do. Some guys just get comfortable. They don't realize, everything that you put into it to get where you are. And maybe he was a guy that didn't have to work that hard to get there. I don't know. But there's always going to be guys nipping at your heels.
What do you think? When you think about I'm going to switch a little bit. When you look at your coaching and your coaching style, and we touched on this the other day, I think. Where does it come from, or is it uniquely your own in part?
I think when I got into coaching, I was still in a learning mode. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to learn everything I could. And then I'm going to tell you a story. So it was my first college job. I'm at Menlo College. Craig Walsh is our athletic director, and his father's Bill Walsh. Mm-hmm. Okay? So this is my first year as a coordinator in Division III. Very competitive Division III college football in California. Very competitive. All right? I mean, it's D3, but you got to know what you're doing, right? Because these coaches are pretty good. So basically, when I got in to coaching, my first college job, I got a coordinator job. Never been a coordinator, right? So what do you think I'm going to run as a coordinator? The only thing I know.
Yes,
under China?
Yeah.
Right? Under 3?
Yeah.
And I can run those because I remember.
You know them. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And then we'll put some blitzes in there and we'll try to survive. Right. Well, that didn't work, right? So you're playing teams like Southern Oregon, and they got this running
When you
back.
say it didn't work, do you think it didn't work because of...
Or it just didn't have enough.
You didn't have enough.
And we had under China, right? Well, you're playing under China, you play 45, 60 plays, and you're calling under China the whole time.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Somebody's going to figure you out. Yeah. And we were playing Southern Oregon at home. It was our homecoming. And they had this running back named Griff Yates. Mm-hmm. Oh, dude. Number 22, I'll never forget him. This guy ran for like almost 300 yards. We could not stop him. But yeah, the other coaches were like, hey, you got to call something different. They know what you're doing. You got to call. You guys
I'm giving you what I got.
Right. So I took that, and from there, I said, I got to learn more football. I got to learn more football.
Were you comfortable with that? Because that was what we were running. That was the thing that you knew, and that was the thing that you were going to put in, and that was going to be enough.
So one thing about coaching, I learned this a long time ago. Teach what you know.
Yeah.
So they can learn what you know. If you're trying to teach stuff that you learned and you don't have it down, they're gonna be as confused or unsettled about it as you are.
Right.
So if you know one front, one coverage, and a couple blitzes, and that's all you know, but you can teach it,
right,
and teach it well, and they can play it, then run it.
Especially if you got because before I say that, so do you think there are players designed for certain positions, like you're a better guy here than you would be over there?
Yes.
So if you can find the players, do you buy into the idea of looking at the players and assessing, can I play man to man, or do I have to play zone because I don't have
now? Yeah. So if you're trying to build a system and you know what you're going to do, if you know you're going to be a man coverage team, like we play a lot of man at the high school I'm at now. We play a lot of match quarters. Your corners are on an island all the time.
Right.
They got to be able to run. They got to be tough. They got to be able to cover because man, in our league, some dudes,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to do that. And some of them, I've seen some of our guys get scared to go against some of the guys that we play against. It's very competitive. But anyway, So when you have a system that you believe in, and you know you're playing man coverage, you want guys that can cover, but you also want fast, athletic guys up front because you want guys that rush. We kind of both come from that, right?
Yes.
And I like that. I want guys that can go get the quarterback and get off and make plays, right? Yes. So when I'm looking for a guy, if I'm like, who's going to be our Chris Nolan position? Who's going to be our under end?
Right.
Who's going to be our under tackle?
Right.
Who's going to be our Henry Thomas? An athletic nose that can, but still hold it down.
Right.
Who's going to be our what I call the big end? Al Noga, that in my system, that he'd be the big end, right?
Right.
The guy's got to play the 5, right, between the tight end and offensive tackle. He's got to hold it down, be able to play the run. If he can get me 7, 8 sacks, whatever it is, as long as he's holding down the run. Yeah. These other guys, the 3 technique in the Dolman position, what we call the rush. That's what we call them, the rush. That's our open side end. Those guys, they got to be able to go, right? Mm-hmm. And you got a plugger like a Studwell on the mic. You got your Wills, more athletic cover guy. And then you got like another D lineman who's playing the Sam, like Merriweather, right? Always on the line of scrimmage, beating up tight ends, that kind of stuff. So you look for those kind of guys if you can get them. In my experience in the NFL, depending on whatever system, I mean, when I would scout D linemen, I like guys that were 245, 250 that can run 4.5, 4.6s. And had 36-inch arms. Those are the guys I'm looking for.
Right.
And then if they show me,
you were specifically on the metrics of the player.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted guys that I knew, because I knew what it took to be a good pass rusher in the NFL. So I knew the kind of guys that I wanted to have a chance to be successful with that guy. You see what I'm saying? So when I went after college guys, I didn't need a guy 6'5", 290. I didn't want those guys.
Right.
I'll take, like, I had Derek Burgess with the Oakland Raiders. He's 6'2", probably 255, ran probably a 4.7.
Yeah.
But he led the NFL in sacks, right? He had 16 sacks one year, led the NFL, and went to his first Pro Bowl. I had a guy named Chris Clemens who I had him for 2 years. He's probably 6'2", 240, played defensive end for me. He had 8.5 sacks, and then he signed a free agent deal to us to Pete Carroll in Seattle, and he did the same thing with him. So let him go.
To the metrics, I make the case that the most critical piece of trying to make that transition to the next level comes with the metrics. Now, if you don't fit the metrics, if you're, now we had, when we were playing, you had those guys 6'3", 210, 220 tailbacks. Eric Dickerson. You had those kind of guys. But then you had on the flip side of that, you had Barry Sanders, who's a good 5'10",
if that, right.
But the difference was, if you didn't fit the metrics, you had to be like incredible,
special. You
had to be special,
right?
And do you still feel? Is that kind of how you're looking at it? Because these guys that you see that don't fit the metrics, that are not necessarily what pro guys are looking at, but you put them in that position, and now they outdo the metrics,
right?
And now all of a sudden the league is like looking like, well, wait a minute, I get it, he's not 6'5", but he's, that 6'2" is not going to bother us,
right?
And I think that's the strange thing. And so if you don't fit the metrics, then you better be a dog,
right?
Or maybe a wolf.
But I think in some cases, like, I'm gonna give you a story. So when I was coach, I coached Warren Sapp in Oakland, right? Okay. And Warren Sapp, I'm like, dude, you're only like 6'1". You're like 6'1". How do you play at 6'1"? And he goes, stand back. And he reaches his arms out, right? And he's like from me to the wall, and he's touching me. He goes, you see how long my arms are? That makes me taller than you. And that made a lot of sense to me.
Makes sense.
He says, that makes me taller than you. And I go, that's a great point. And he did. He had long arms. So he could stab people, keep people off him. It didn't matter.
Right.
The only thing is, it made it harder for guys to block him because he was lower to the ground. And then you got all this quickness in his hands where he's just like knocking your hands off from a distance because you can't get to him because of his arm length. Right.
Okay. So all right. So I'm gonna go back.
So what I'm saying is the guys that I coached or brought up, okay, guys that I've brought from other teams or drafted, there are certain metrics they did have to have
right.
if they wanted to. I wanted guys that could rush the passer. We'll stop the run. You in your gap, we'll stop the run as long as you're in your gap. You don't need to be 300 pounds to do that. We'll leverage the ball by team defense, right? But it's hard to find guys that can rush. So when we talk about metrics, I want a guy that can run 4.5, 4.6. I want a guy that has long arms because long arms are huge for me with good pass rushers. So if they're 6'2", I don't care. As long as they got long arms and they can rush, they got the footwork, miss out, whatever. That not everybody can be 6'4", 265. Like we had Minnesota every year, right? I mean, Dolman's 6'5", 6'6", 265. He ran a 4.5. Arms from here to the damn.
He had everything.
See what I'm saying? He had everything. But you're not going to find that with everybody. Right. It's rare. Dolman's rare now, and there's a lot of guys like him that have played in the league and had a lot of success. But there's also a lot of guys that have something you like that aren't necessarily going to be 6'4", 6'5".
If you had, okay, so to the parent who has a talented kid that's in high school, and if you were going to give them advice because they're good or great in high school, and they're hoping, and let's say even they have offers. You know, the new thing is I have offers, okay, which doesn't provide you factually that those offers are going to
pan out.
Or So if you have a parent and they have a talented kid who has offers, what would you tell them when it comes to their child's work ethic outside of the sport that they're going in? And maybe they're one sport, say they're just football. So he's a great football player at his high school, maybe got some statewide honors, maybe some county, offer or county awards and all that kind of stuff. You know, so he's in a unique group of athletes in the state. What would you say to them about the work ethic in order to actually solidify an opportunity to play and make that offer into a scholarship? And then if it is their goal to get to the next level, how do you transition that from the high school to the college and then to Sunday? So what is that?
I know exactly what you're saying. So this is what I tell, and I've been in a situation where kids like the kids that I have. I got a kid. He's 6'5", 6'4", 6'4.5". He's already 265. He's 15 years old. He can dunk a basketball.
So this is the kid you were telling me about?
Yeah, this is the kid I'm telling you about. He has all kinds of offers because of his size. He goes to all these camps. Right. He does well. You see his athleticism, right? We got a running back like that. We got a tight end like that. But with the youngster, when they start getting all these offers, right? It kind of goes to their head a little bit, and it should. It would go to mine too at that age. I mean, they're getting like Division I, major offers, right? Major offers. So we're going through a practice, and it was my guys, and all four of them are in my group. So we're doing our individual drills, and I'm with my guy, and they're like, they ain't doing it. They're loafing. They're not really into it. So I just went, stop. I go, let me tell you guys something. I know you guys are having a lot of success and a lot of good things are happening to you. And I'm proud of you, man. I think it's great. But you're going to want you guys to understand because you ain't doing shit today, right? We got a game in 3 days, and you guys are loafing, you're lollygagging, joking around, man. We got work to do. But this is what I told him. I said, every one of you guys are tight end. He's 6'5", 230, can run, jump, unbelievable. This guy Dakota, my D lineman, I just told you, he was dunking at 14 years old, right? Unbelievable. This is what I told him, and this is what I really wanted to burn him. I go, guys, you got to understand something. When you get to college, because every one of you guys got a good life right now. You got good parents. You've been taken care of your whole life, right? You got talent, this, that, whatever. But when you get to college, everybody in that room is going to look like you. And everybody in that room is going to have a skill set that you're going to have to contend with. But this is the part I'm trying to make you aware of. There's some kids in there that don't have nothing that you guys have right now. They don't have that. They need this to be successful in whatever direction they're going, right? They got to make it. They got to make it. So you're going to have to contend with that hunger because all they've known their whole life is hunger. You know, like us, right? We're hungry, like John Randall, right? That's what I was trying to get into them. You guys got to understand, when you get there, everybody's going to be your size. They're going to look like you. But there's going to be guys, that's all they got. They're going to be hungry. that nothing's gonna stop them to get where they are. And that's what you guys got to learn. You guys got to understand, man. It's when you get to the next level, it's for real. There's some serious dudes there trying to get something done, and they're not going to be stopped. So if you want to play, if you want to contend, if you want to be in the mix, you got to understand those are the kind of guys you're getting ready to go against. So snap out of this, all these teams, I'm getting offers, I'm the shit, blah, blah, blah. Because when you get to college, you are going to be far from the shit. I'm telling you, you're going to have to earn that stuff because nobody's giving you anything. Nothing. In fact, these 7, 10, 18, however many offers you guys are getting, you haven't put your name on a paper yet. you haven't signed anything. So all those scholarship offers you got, they don't have to sign you. They don't have
the
to.
idea of an offer, okay, to me, in today's recruiting structure, you know, it's me coming to see your kid, and he fits something that I like. He may not even fit the metrics.
It's not even that, Carl. I'm telling you, this is what it is. I know what you're saying. You're saying he has something that I like. I've seen his film. Mm-hmm. So you're doing the groundwork. You've watched his film. Yeah, this guy probably gonna fit in our system, whatever your system is. Okay, you like what you saw in practice. He's got the size. He's got all that, right? So you're like, I got to stay on this kid because I'd like to have this kid. That's not how it is anymore.
Well, no,
there's no evaluation anymore. It's, Arizona offered him. I got to offer him if we're going to stay in the mix.
Okay. Either way. So I'll take that. But if I'm that parent or I'm that kid, and you say, the fact that you say offer, that to me ought to be like something so much that hearing that should say, man, I got to go to work. Because I don't have time to now walk around and talk about how many offers I got. I got to go out, get up in the morning, put time in, just so that I can be worthy of that offer. I don't want to be the one telling you, oh man, Keith, I got all these offers. I have a bunch of D1s, and you know, such and such said, you know, that they may offer me.
Right.
May offer you is no offer.
So here, with the guys that I've known, at the high schools I've been, it's an entitlement.
Yes.
I'm the shit.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm the shit. Because UW, University of Washington, and USC just offered me a full ride scholarship.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. UCLA last week.
Yeah.
Stanford, Washington State, Marshall,
all those close,
all offered you a scholarship. Yeah, they're all over you. They love you. They're telling you everything you want to hear.
And so you're sitting around spending time talking about it, man. Yes, you're sitting around. You're spending time.
I don't even remember how I got here. I don't remember doing too much. I don't lift that much.
No,
I only run when I have to.
Well, here's the thing: if I don't lift, if I hadn't been lifting prior to, if I hadn't been running prior to. Why am I going to run now? Because they already.
That's why I stopped them. See, I stopped them in their tracks. Go, guys, you know what you're ready to get into? Don't let this shit go to your head, man. Because I'm telling you, it's going to ruin you.
And I have said this multiple times in talking the transition from high school to college. I am telling, I cannot. And I don't even. There's no reason even to go into college to the
pro. No, that's not even different discussion.
That's a whole other discussion.
No,
because if someone offers you, you should be out digging a ditch. Right now, because and you saying that as putting in work. Like I don't care what it is. If someone says they are offering me, I don't care if it's a D5.
That would make me nervous. You know what I'm saying? It's like I got to live up to this.
Yes. Because you're putting me. I can remember
these youngsters today. That's not how they think, man. They think they deserve it.
I get in Detroit game, my rookie season. We're midway through the season. Swain had hurt his knee. And I get the game-winning interception. My first game. Now, in that thought process, I'm thinking to myself, because I'm looking at the game and I'm thinking,
the harder I work, the more that I'm going to get.
Yes, because I'm sitting there thinking, man, I can do this.
Yes.
I really truly think I can do
Yes.
this. And it's Bud, and Bud's not playing a rookie.
Right.
You know, so I'm respecting the idea of I got to sit on the sideline. Now I'm getting this first opportunity. I get this interception. Man, I'm as proud of myself as anybody could possibly think. But there's a side of me in there saying, okay, if I can step in and make this play, I'm not lying to myself when I think that I can do this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But now what I need to do is now I got to step that up. I got to step
Got
work
to.
ethic. Now I got to go start working harder. I got to run longer, lift longer, get stronger. All those kind of things.
Study more film.
Yes, because if I'm that now, if I can just get in the game and I'm a rookie and I can get an interception, man, there's a whole lot of stuff I can do. And I did all that. And then, so to get my career, every successful year, the first time you go to the Pro Bowl, what's the first time you get done with the Pro Bowl and forget the game, you're thinking about what? I want to go back.
Well, do you remember the first call when you got the call? Remember when Bernsey would call you? Remember that call, the first one you ever made? Remember that call? Right? Did you think in your right mind when he called you and said, Carl Lee, I got some news for you? Because you didn't know about it. He had to tell you before. That's what he did.
Right.
You made the Pro Bowl. And you're thinking,
like, wow. Yeah. Like you can't, wow.
It's not, you're not thinking, oh, yeah, I know. I should have.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
I assumed I was going to.
But that's how these youths.
And each year that you got that call,
right,
you was equally
as
surprised,
elated and surprised.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you get in it and forget what it looks like now, but like you get in it and when you get in it, you're measuring yourself.
Oh, you
against
kidding?
The best
we were playing in those days. We were trying to compete. Prove ourselves. We're the best. Yeah.
Because I got Darryl Green on the other side.
Yeah.
You know, I got
you
all
can't
these
just
dudes.
show up.
I'm not like just gonna be this guy and just like and just be in awe. No, dude, I want to match you.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know if we have that understanding of the importance of trying to compete, not at the level to make it,
right,
but to compete at the level to try to be the best.
You're talking about the youngsters.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's how I look at it. We can't help what's being fed to them on a daily, right? You got college coaches coming in. We're talking to them. We like you, right? And parents, they're learning, but they don't know that in the little inside details of what's going on. All they know is, wow, these guys really like my son. How exciting, right?
And he's going to get a scholarship.
He's going to get a scholarship, right? So I think it's our jobs as their coaches to keep it real for them, and that includes the parents. You know, if the parent, some of the parents, we'll talk about that stuff. And I'm just saying the same thing I just said about when my guys weren't working, stopped the practice, pulled them together, and right there, I just felt the need to talk to them about, guys, you got to understand the reality of what you're getting into. But at the same time, I said, listen, everything you guys are getting, you deserve it. It's great. But now you got to keep it. Now you got to hold on to it. You guys, it's just, maybe it was easy so far for you to, it's like, first of all, I don't know how you get 20 offers and you're 14 years old. You haven't even gone through puberty yet.
Right,
and you got 20 offers from some of the top schools in the nation. You guys got to realize, man, that's fragile.
Yes.
You better hang on to that.
Yes, because all of those are not going to stay. And you're going to play your way out of somewhere,
right? And
you may have to play your way into.
But I think it's our responsibility as coaches, in a positive way, because you're not trying to crush them,
right?
But you just listen, man, you guys need to know this is how it's going to be. So you mentally, as you're going through the season and next year, because Some of our guys are sophomores and they've got 10 offers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sophomores.
So you got
to set them straight. That's our job.
Okay, so when I know for a fact at home, West Virginia, when these kids get offers, we promote those offers. We make sure everybody knows, everybody who's on Facebook, everybody who's on Twitter, Instagram.
So
all
for the
that
school,
we gotta let everybody know that our kid, this kid at the school, has got this offer. Now, what happens if those offers fall through?
Mm-hmm.
What do you say as the school? What do you say as the dad? What do you say as the coach?
Right.
What do you say?
Because that part's going to be bigger than than letting everybody know.
Exactly. So
that's dangerous territory.
I think it's dangerous. But we do that at home, right? Because we don't get a whole lot of
you guys are proud. Everybody's proud.
And the thing about being proud, be proud, but put more work in.
Right.
I think at that point now you have to do more. I think I put more work in when I signed my scholarship to Marshall. I think I put more work in then than the offer.
Absolutely.
I think
it's different
when I got drafted.
It's different.
I put more work in after I got drafted than I did before I was drafted. And I don't think that we're necessarily understanding that kind of understanding of what we need to do. When you have those offers, we have to put in more work to solidify that particular offer, because you don't know if you're going to get it. You know, because again, an offer, I can promise you whatever I want today, and tomorrow I found somebody else, and it's just that easy.
Yeah, so when I was at my other high school where I was coaching my son, we had a kid, this dude, unbelievable, okay? He played corner and wide receiver for us. He's a freshman, and he played varsity.
Okay.
Special.
Yes.
I mean, this was a man amongst boys, but he's 14. So this guy had older brothers that played college ball, really good family, hired his older brother as one of our coaches, really good family, man. Chris Lawson. You'll be hearing about him someday. Okay. So he's a freshman playing varsity, which is unheard of. Where I'm from. Right. It just doesn't happen, man. It really doesn't. And Dakota did that too now. Well, you don't know. I keep thinking. Yeah. This other kid I was telling you about that I'm coaching, that happened to him too. Right. He was a freshman playing varsity, 14. But this guy got an offer from the University of Arizona. That's why I keep saying Arizona. Offer, full ride scholarship offer. He's a freshman. He's 14. He's probably, I don't even know what he's really done to earn it. You could see the talent and everything.
They're taking their size.
Size, speed. This guy's a receiver and a corner.
Okay.
And he's just mossing dudes at 14. He's mossing senior, right? Mossing them. Dude, you can't cover him. He's 14. So anyway, this is my point. Arizona offers him a full ride. Well, guess what? Arizona State heard that Arizona offered him a full ride. We don't really know who he is, but if Arizona's offering him a full ride, we got to do it. You got to stand with the judges. Yeah. So if that's what's going on. That's what's different, because nobody's doing their homework. Nobody's doing their evaluations. No one's critiquing the skill set or whatever. Hell, they probably don't even know his academic background. So here we are. He gets one offer, and because he got that offer, there must be some about him if Arizona offered him, so we have to offer him too. And dude, that's where all these offers are coming from.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
There's no way you can know this kid, because I haven't even seen you at the school yet. And my son, my son's a head coach, and he makes everybody come through. He wants to meet everybody. He just wants to make sure he's just looking out for his players,
right?
And he just wants to make sure everything's on the up and up, right? So he has a good relationship with all these coaches that come in. It's really awesome, and it's good for the players too. So it's like, we want to know why. What you see in our kids?
Explain to me why you're
exactly. Is it because this team offered him or what? But usually if they come to the school
Yes.
and they're looking at you working out, because it's off season right
Yeah.
now, they're looking at you working out, or they if they know specific things about you, we know,
Yeah.
okay,
Now
you
you
this
know that
kid.
he's interested.
We know what you like. We like the same things about him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so I would say to the parents that, here is a coach who's coaching high school, who's coached college, major colleges, in areas where athletes are, it's normal for athletes to go D1. Offers, and correct me if I'm wrong, offers can be something that just happens because somebody, you get a first offer, you're going to get a second offer, you're going to get a third offer.
Yep.
Because they haven't even, and again, like you said, they may not even know who you are.
Yep.
Or know anything about you, seen any films, any evaluation. They don't have any evaluation, but because of the competition of the recruiting of the athletes.
Right.
And imagine in West Virginia, we have a smaller number of athletes who get scholarships.
Right.
And so when you send somebody gets one from Arizona, in West Virginia, there's going to be a whole host of people coming.
Absolutely, which helps everybody else.
Yes.
I love that.
So I think we have to understand that the offer, the number of offers don't necessarily matter. But again, if you get that offer, you're literally going to have to live up to that offer. At some point,
there's no doubt.
They're not going to just hand that to you. Mm-mm. They're going to come in. Somebody's coming in, if they even think that it's worth the time, because they're going to see your video. They're going to see all that. They may offer you, and then, oops, they're not even talking to you anymore because you don't fit the metrics or you don't fit the bill.
Yeah.
And that's and unfortunately that's the livelihood of the reality of recruiting and getting those offers. I didn't make the case. Which makes no.
So wait, so your question is, what do you tell the parents?
Yes, I'm trying to You've kind of helped in explaining to the parent what the offer actually can be, especially if you haven't seen the coach. You haven't really heard. There's nobody really coming to see you, but they're putting these offers on the table.
Right.
If you're a parent and your son hadn't said or daughter hadn't said that such and such coach came in from such and such place and said that we're offering you don't necessarily have an offer.
Okay, so let me so here's how that goes down, because I have experiences with my own kid. Okay, so you got I'll just talk about the school I'm coaching at right now. Okay, Monte Vista High School in Danville. So we got 4 big hitters, right? And I've talked to you about them. We got that tight end, we got a running back, linebacker, we got an O-line, D lineman, we might have a quarterback, but we've got, I'd say, 4 big hitters, lots of offers. Okay. Well, in my opinion, we got probably 3 other kids that can play at the next level too. They're probably diamonds in the rough. I was a diamond in the rough, right? I was a diamond in the rough. I had 1 offer. Okay. My son, Cade, who just got a full ride to San Jose State, diamond in the rough, didn't get a lot of offers. So what happens is there's kids at the school who want to play at the next level. They want a scholarship, or they want to go to college, right? I would say to the parents, be patient, because my son Cade, he got preferred walk-ons early, Washington State. Then he got a full ride offer to Cal Poly, 1AA school. Yeah. Okay, and then what happened is San Jose State was out looking at a kid at our school, and my son was there. The head coach son, okay? And Cade hasn't got an offer yet from Foothill at our other high school, okay? So this is what happened. Cade hadn't got an offer yet. So Johnny says, hey, are you looking at my little brother, Cade? He goes, he's not even on our radar. What's going on? And it was weird, but he said, yeah, he's at Foothill, blah, 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 blah. Check his film out. This is a head coach, Brent Brennan. He's at University of Arizona now. He looked at his film and offered him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, however Cade got lost in the shuffle, you just got to be patient. And as parents, the other thing is, get his highlight tape made. Get every good play on that highlight tape, whether he's a sophomore, junior, senior. Get that tape together. And what I did with Cade, and I did it with my son Johnny too, is I put a highlight tape together because I know what coaches look at.
Right.
So I put things together. And just to show maybe not just so much making tackles or sacks or catching balls, but show them like technique stuff. Like, is this guy got good technique?
Did you put in like any kind of stuff that you guys might be out on the field practicing, or was it all just
game stuff?
Okay.
Yeah, just game stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, just game stuff. I just wanted to kind of control and just make sure that they're saying, and then really you got to work. You got to put a little work in. So Twitter is a great way to get your film out there.
Yeah,
it really is, because coaches, that's what they do now. All these kids are on social media, so that's how they connect with the kids. So you send your tape, you put it on wherever, all the social media stuff, and then as a head coach at these high schools. When these kids come, when these recruiters come, it can't just be about those 3 or 4 guys. If you believe in your players and you think somebody's a diamond in the rough, like I was, or like my sons were, okay, you need to say, hey, maybe you need to take a look at this kid. And that's what you do. So at least you get them in the conversation, and if they take the time to evaluate and look at your film, they're gonna, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Why we miss this kid?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, don't get discouraged. Keep plugging away, and you don't have to go to a Power 5 school. They got a lot of 1AA schools. They got a lot of, there's so many schools out there. They got scholarship programs. They don't all have to be full ride scholarship. They got scholarship programs, man.
And don't be afraid to go somewhere close to home.
No, absolutely.
Just because, like we have
you want that support system.
Yeah, we have a couple schools at home that, are D2s that kids actually think that they're too big for that.
D2
and it's
school
crazy.
It's good football. Guys get drafted in the NFL from D2 schools. That's a fact.
Yes. And if you're, for whatever the reason is that you didn't get the D1s that you wanted, and you love football, man, go D2. Because I'm gonna make the case, Marshall, we wasn't much better than the D2 team when I was there.
Right.
We 8, 9, 10 games maybe.
Right.
And and it was just all about just playing. All I wanted to do was to play.
Yes.
Period. I wanted to get there, get on the field, and play.
Yep.
If you do that, if you're visible,
if you can play, you can play.
You can play.
They're going to find you.
Absolutely. They're going to find you.
Absolutely. That's a fact.
That is a fact. Yes, that is and for the folks who say, well, they missed me. It's a possibility that they missed you, but they got what they wanted.
Right.
And I don't think any team, whether it be college or pro, when they get done, I don't think they are sitting there saying, okay, we missed somebody.
If you can play, they're not going to miss you.
I just don't think
I'm telling you right now.
I just don't think they are.
If you can play, even if you have, maybe you're not at your potential yet, but they see the ceiling. If they see that, they're going to notice you.
And to your point, I took a couple of visits to Virginia Tech, and I'm like thinking, Virginia Tech, man, that's a big deal.
Big deal.
But man, I wasn't big enough. I really wasn't big enough. So they offered me a walk-on. Nah, that ain't happening. I ain't got no money to walk
exactly.
on.
Exactly.
So going to Marshall, at that point, I don't think, since the plane crash, I don't know if anybody had ever gone to the league or anything since that point. But I had always said to anybody who asked me, what do I want? I want to play ball on Sunday. I want to play ball on Sunday. At Marshall? What are you talking about? Dude, no. Dude, it doesn't make
we had a guy get drafted in the 7th round by the Denver Broncos when I was coaching D3 school, Menlo College, from Menlo College, a wide receiver. He played 7 years in the NFL.
And see, and again, we get so locked into
a white dude playing receiver at a D3 school. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
He played 7 years.
Yes. It's
well, you got here early.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get off of here. We're heading to the airport to get back. I'm going to West Virginia. He's heading back to California. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll get back to you soon. All right, we're out.
The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of WVRC Media, its management, employees, or sponsors. Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Carl Lee. Visit WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk for more.